Hello guys and welcome. Today I'm going to try and explain to you the problem that I had when I just installed the RealSense module on my Typhoon H. I did that a couple of days ago and I already uploaded the test flight where everything seems to be working normally. However, the day that I installed it, it didn't went quite as well. And the reason that I didn't want to mention that on the other video is first of all because I don't have video footage of that, and I'm gonna try and explain to you why. So it turns out that the day that I was installing the RealSense module, the very video that I'm talking about, I was running low on battery on my camera. So I ended the video as soon as I saw that the battery was going to run out, and I set the camera aside and I charged the battery, but I just couldn't wait to test and see if everything was working correctly. And my Typhoon H, it's been very reliable, and I wanted to see if anything had changed after installing the RealSense module. So I set my camera aside, I went outside and I just tried to make a hovering test, as several videos that I've done already. And sooner than later I found out that something wrong was going on. And what happened is that as soon as I took off, the H started to drift backwards towards some trees that are almost always visible on the videos that I record on the roof. But I thought it was just a minor drift. I tried to correct it and it started drifting forward, and then it started drifting sideways. I had it under control, but I definitely felt that something was going on. It even started toilet bowling at some point. As you can see, the space on the roof is very limited. But anyway, I felt like it wasn't flying right. I tried to release all the input to see if it would eventually hold its position, and it didn't. Every sort of issues that a lot of people report having, either from out of the box or whenever they have some firmware updates. And to be honest, I was pretty disappointed to see that my unit having those issues. Those are problems that I definitely don't want to have when it's 100 feet up in the air. Anyway, I completely forgot about bringing out the camera. I didn't want to repeat the test because it was also well, not very hard, but it wasn't easy to land safely. At lower altitude, the ground effect made everything worse, and I have a bit of an issue to bring it down safely. Then I had to come up with a way to know what was going on with the H. Now, the very same day that I purchased the RealSense module, I made another purchase from Carolina Drones as well. And what I purchased was an additional aircraft. So I just purchased the unit. They have it as a BNF, bind and fly unit, which is just a replacement unit. I don't have an extra controller or anything. I happen to have an extra gimbal, which is fortunate. But the very first thing that came to my mind was that I could check if this unit would behave the same as my original Typhoon H. Now, this unit, I hadn't checked it before. I didn't know if the unit itself was working properly by itself without the RealSense. So what I did is that I bound the new unit to my ST16. I did a small hovering test. I flew in small circles and very gentle patterns, and it seemed to be completely fine. So what I did is that I removed the RealSense module and installed it on the new unit. That way, if the RealSense module was faulty, I could know that the problem was not in my original Typhoon H. I thought that I had received a faulty RealSense unit. I really wish I didn't, but there was no way for me to know. So what I did was I removed the RealSense unit and installed it on the new aircraft and proceeded to test it again. Luckily, the new aircraft flew perfectly. It had no issues at all. It flew just as it did when it had not installed the RealSense module. So it was kind of a relief. Then I tested again my original unit without the RealSense module, and it flew perfectly fine. So it was sort of a relief, because at least I had a unit which flew perfectly with the RealSense module, and my original unit was flying perfectly as well. So being that the new unit flew perfectly, I knew that something had to be wrong with my original Typhoon H. And I started to try to think about possibilities, whether it was a loose connection or something. And what came to my mind was that when I was plugging in the white connector of the RealSense module to the new Typhoon H, and the cable that's beneath the LED cover, it was very short. And when I was trying to do it on the original unit, the cables stuck out longer than they should, and that also made it more difficult to install it originally, because the cables were tangling all inside of the RealSense unit. And so I thought that maybe when I repaired the H, if you remember, I replaced the power distribution board. Maybe something that I did was the origin of the problem, and I was right. What I did is that I took a look inside of the battery compartment of my H, and I saw that the cables that connect from the power distribution board to the RealSense module were they didn't look right. So in case you don't remember or you haven't seen the other video, I have here the power distribution board that I replaced. So the black cables that connect the RealSense module to the power distribution board are connected to this white connector. Let me just focus that for you. And these cables go sideways, rounding all the battery frame and hiding below the LED cover. So if we were to place this over the Typhoon H, you would look it like this, and the cables, which are roughly up around here, go around and under the LED. So I thought that maybe when I reinstalled it, maybe some cables were running the wrong way, creating some sort of interference, or just it could have been unplugged, or something that had to do with a wrong reinstallation. So I could definitely see that I did something wrong while putting back together my Typhoon H. I also obviously took a look at the new unit, and I saw that the cables were neatly twisted, and they just seemed better installed. So I concluded that I had done something wrong, that the cables, which were at the moment the only variable that I could think about, had to do with the problems. So I took out my tools and I disassembled the H again. So I took a few pictures, and I'm gonna be showing this to you. So you can see here that the cables are very poorly twisted, and it definitely shows that I did a very sloppy reinstall. And I remember that someone in one thread on the forum made a question that how come when he used the original battery to fly his H, the unit flew perfectly, but when he used his custom made battery tray, it started having toilet bowl problems and drifting problems. And someone told him that it could be that the cables that he used that he customly made for his unit may have been causing interference, which was messing with the flight controller. And it came to my mind that maybe when I didn't twist these cables correctly, I was exposing the electronics to interference. So anyway, I just reassembled everything, and I very carefully tried to twist all the cables in a very neat way so it would look right. And by doing so, I saw that also the twisting made the cables shorter, obviously, and they were very closer to how they were supposed to be, or at least how they looked like on the unit that flew perfectly with the RealSense. So then I reinstalled everything. I removed the RealSense from the new machine and installed it back on my original Typhoon H. And then that's when I recorded the test that you could see on the other video. So the problem was that the cables that communicate the RealSense to the flight controller, which are connected directly to the power distribution board, flight control is up here, were causing interference because I did a poor reinstallation. They were untwisted, and it seems that it was enough to throw off all the sensors on the Typhoon H. So technically the unit didn't have a problem, because that problem was caused by me when I opened it and reinstalled it incorrectly. Had I not done that mistake, the unit would have been perfectly since the first moment, and that's the reason I didn't feel like it was relevant to the other video, because everything that happened derived from my mistake. And well, anyway, I hope you liked the videos. This one is just more like a justifying my mistake. Well, everyone makes mistakes, but as I've come to know, the H still remains like a very reliable machine for me. I'm very glad that I chose it as my first UAV, and well, that's about it. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you later.